The way to ultimate performance. From extreme sports to tycoon companies that use that ultimate state to achieve the impossible. Hello my friends, please subscribe to my YouTube channel for daily content. There are moments that stand out from the chaos of the everyday and shine like beacons. In the coming years, it would quietly reshape our world, radically altering our thinking about everything from the limits of human performance to the neurobiology of religious experience. Research. Corporations like Patagonia, Toyota, Ericsson, and Microsoft would make flow a critical piece of their strategy and culture. Coders in flow built the internet, gamers in flow built the video game industry, and, of course, the sports world has never been the same. Flow was a groundbreaking discovery, and one with considerable impact. In the coming years, it would quietly reshape our world. It would launch outstanding scientific debate and either wholly create or significantly impact a half-dozen fields of academic research. Steven Kotler from the book The Rise of Superman stated how flow is the hallmark of high performance, but in situations where the slightest error could be fatal, then perfection is the only choice, and flow is the only guarantee of perfection. Thus, flow is the only way to survive in the fluid, life-threatening conditions of big waves, big rivers, and big mountains. Big challenges without it, equipment like the mega ramp remain a pipe dream or a death sentence. Necessity, as they say, is the mother of invention. As Danny Way explains, it's either find the zone or suffer the consequences, there's no other choice available. Actually, flow is cultivated in every day in life to thrive and transform in an exceptional way, but the example which I am about to show actually shows that in extreme sports it's do or die. The lip, the part that is pitching ahead and forming the tube, is only a tiny fraction of the wave. On the Millennium Wave it was almost half. It was like a dam bursting, like someone had dropped the seafloor by 30 feet and the ocean was desperately trying to find level ground. The MW was a big wave. Ordinarily waves are the result of one swell hitting another, but this one was different. It looked more like something from Hollywood than a product of physics. So much force was being generated that Hamilton, as he was trying to get into position for the tube ride, found himself getting sucked up the wave's face. To hold steady, he had to reach down, to the outside of his surfboard, and drag his right hand in the water. It was the perfect move and the only reason he's alive today, but here's the thing. No one had ever made that move before. In a type of sports like extreme sports, being in flow is a do or die process, and Hamilton just broke the norms and achieved the impossible. Leslie Sherlin. Attention was caught by Hamilton. Sherlin studies the brain of people having great decisions. He's one of the world's leading experts in the neuroscience of high performance, having spent his career trying to figure out what separates guys like Laird Hamilton from the rest of us. It's not just talent and training. Hamilton's experience on the Millennium Wave. Before he grabbed the tow rope, says Sherlin, he was assessing the situation, trying to predict the future, feeling fear, that classic beta. But once he was being pulled toward the wave, when he started to shut out outside stimuli and focus on the task at hand, that's a burst of alpha. The angel/devil argument was really about alpha versus beta. The angel was alpha. It was the implicit system saying let's go for it, we know what to do. The devil was beta, it was the explicit system saying hold up a second, let's just gather more data. But the angel won. Hamilton made the right decision, suppressed that beta wave and got himself to alpha/theta, the zone, and held himself there. Millennium Wave didn't end when Hamilton found the zone. Moments later, he was getting sucked up that wave's face. So while the implicit system is capable of high-speed pattern recognition, which helped him realize what was happening a little sooner, he had a creative insight no one had ever had before and pull off a difficult move that no one had ever attempted before, which was the turning point in history for surfing. Flow was also the speaking power of Google. Hiring of Eric Schmidt as the CEO of Google was challenging. Page and Brin faced the biggest personnel decision of their startup lives. Despite creating one of Silicon Valley's more notorious hiring gauntlets, where candidates were ruthlessly vetted for GPAs, SATs, and their ability to calculate Mensa-like brain teasers, the founders realized they couldn't crack this next hire with metrics alone. After several years of rocket ship success, Google's board had decided that the company was growing too big for Larry's and Sergey's 20-something britches. The investors felt a little adult supervision was needed and initiated a search for what would prove to be one of the more pivotal CEO hires of the high-tech era. The process wasn't easy on anyone. After nearly a year of interviews, as Brin later told the press, Larry and I had managed to alienate 50 of the top executives in Silicon. Time was running out. If they couldn't get it right soon, they'd prove the board's point. They were in over their heads. In choosing their CEO, Page and Brin came to the conclusion that they had to look beyond their normal screening process. Resumes were all but useless. The technical part was more or less a given. There were plenty of sharp guys in the valley who could run a stable of code monkeys. But, in a town full of outsized personalities, they had to find someone who could set ego aside and get what Google was trying to do. Someone who could, in the New York Times John Markoff's assessment, discipline Google's flamboyant, self-indulgent culture, without wringing out the genius. But, in a town full of outsized personalities, they had to find someone who could set ego aside and get what Google was trying to do. Someone who could, in the New York Times John Markoff's assessment, discipline Google's flamboyant, self-indulgent culture, without wringing out the genius. Page and Brin were regular and enthusiastic attendees. In Burning Man. For many years, the two-story atrium of building, Google's main headquarters, wasn't decorated with industry accolades or stock ticker flat screens. Instead, it showcased pictures of loincloth-wearing, fire-spinning Googlers and their eclectic Burning Man art projects. In fact, the very first Google Doodle, posted in the late summer of 1998, was a crude stick figure of the Burning Man himself. Made from 2 commas set back to back, centered over the second yellow O in Google. That cryptic icon signified to those in the know that Page and Brin were turning out the lights in Palo Alto location of Google and lighting out for the Nevada Badlands. One of Turner's research subjects, a Googler himself, explained his experience on a pyrotechnic team. We were very focused, very few words, open to anything. No egos. We worked very tightly. Flow on the team, it was an extended, ecstatic feeling of interpersonal unity and timelessness they shared together. They needed a CEO who's familiar with group flow. So one of the things that happens at Burning Man alters consciousness in a very particular way and it drops people into a state of group flow. Eric proved to be one of the more pivotal CEO hires of the high-tech era. Just check the numbers. When Google hired Schmidt in 2001, their revenues were rumored to be about $100 million. A decade later, when Schmidt finally handed the CEO reins back to Page, the company's revenues were nearly $40 billion. That's a return of almost 40,000%. Page and Brin have gone on to become numbers 9 and 10 on Forbes' list of the world's wealthiest individuals. Schmidt is one of the only non-founder, non-family members to ever become a stock option billionaire in history. Even for a company like Google, dedicated to unassuming goals like organizing the entire world's information, a 400x return? As close to priceless as they'll ever get that. That was the power of flow, the essence of the optimal experience, the way to maximum performance, the way to mastery. In the upcoming video we will talk more about the techniques for the basic of the flow state and how to achieve it in daily life. To achieve optimal transformation, we will discuss the best practices to achieve that state in life and more, so please like, comment and let us know your opinion. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to push the subscribe button.